Do they want to comment on politics? If they're going to comment on politics, comment on politics. Mm-hmm. Don't give me the teasers and then pull it back.
Do you think that's interesting too? Because they are, public about talking about their family and, kind of the risks that they have in their family, but they're very protective of their children, which I totally understand. But if you're going to give us some of that, should you give us a little bit of that?
Well, and that's where it kind of goes to, you don't get to open the box just a little bit.
Right.
And that's a really tricky one. It's tricky for business people. It's tricky for celebrities because authenticity doesn't mean the same thing as transparency. Mm-hmm. So when you give an answer, to be authentic means you're being genuine. You're giving the truth. You're speaking from the heart. Doesn't mean I have to tell you everything about me. Mm-hmm. But keeping your children, something that we attach to part of your identity, private, feels odd. And it feels odd in this country when our kids are all over social media, in the most part. Mm-hmm. So I fully support them choosing boundaries and setting up guardrails so that there are certain topics, like we don't need to know about their love life.
Sure.
But we'd love to see their kids. We'd love to see them as a family. I think that could go a lot to endear us. I understand there's a lot of risk to that. There's a lot of risk to being very well known too.
Yeah, no. And I think that probably goes back to his upbringing too, with Princess Diana and how she was hounded by the press and they were all surrounded by the press. I'm sure there's so many different factors that kind of go into why they do certain things because it's, security and protection is very important to Harry.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, your children are only young once and there are a lot of nefarious people on the internet. So I completely understand it. But then be clear about where the boundaries are. Mm-hmm. We're allowed to say there are certain things I don't talk about, right? Do they want to comment on politics? If they're going to comment on politics, comment on politics. Mm-hmm. Don't give me the teasers and then pull it back.
Right.
That's where I think people start getting frustrated.
Yes, I agree. He loves to drop those little crumbs here every now and then.
Well, and his work with the Invictus Games is that's a gold mine. That's so, I've known a lot of people who participated and personally, I know what that can do for them. Yeah. There's goodwill that comes from that. Things like that, showing them as a family, showing them as a couple, letting us get to know them better would probably go a long way to improving their image here, because then we start to forgive things. Yeah. A misstep here, a wrong word there, we start to forgive that. But if the only context is, I'm going to point out negative things about the people who raised me, but you don't get to ask me any questions or see anything behind the curtain, that feels a little contrived.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And that kind of goes back to that Today Show interview that he did when he brought up the, checking in on the Queen because he wanted to make sure the right people were around, dodging the question when asked about his relationship with Prince Charles and Prince William. So you're right. It's like you can't pick and choose all the time.
Yeah, most people can't. Maybe the Queen can.
Yes, the Queen can do whatever she wants. At 96, she can do whatever she wants.
She can, and she still styles the bright colors, and she's got her Jubilee next month. I mean, it's a good time to be the Queen.